Peter, Hannover Messe. With everything that's going on with industrial AI and copilots, are we really going to be talking to the machines anytime soon?
Yes, we do, Kevin. That's exactly the idea that we bring with the industrial copilot, where we partner with Microsoft to make the interaction with the machine in a very simple way, be it speech, be it text, so that every lay user can operate these machines. Because as you know, we're really lacking skilled labor, and we have to bring better tools, better technology to really foster all the human capital that we have.
Now, I think one of the things to make a distinction as well, and Roland and Cedric were talking about it yesterday, we're talking about industrial AI here. And if I may, I think there's two pieces. One is the interface, so I can chat to it. But then under the covers, industrial AI is very different to just a large language model we use to write a letter.
Absolutely. So, I mean, in short, what we need with industrial AI, three things. It needs to be secure.
Yeah.
Second, it needs to be reliable.
Yeah.
And thirdly, it needs to be trustworthy. Okay?
Okay.
So, of course, our customers, they say, well, we don't want to have any cybersecurity issues. It has to do it over and over again in terms of reliably. And I need to understand of what it's really doing. What that means, technology-wise, three things. Number one, these models don't need to be large. You can think of them not as LLMs, but SLMs, all right?
Okay.
Small language models.
Right.
Because we want to deploy them in a very efficient way, for example, on an edge. Second, we need other modalities. Actually, what I need is an STSM, so it's a small time series model. All right?
Okay.
So I'm not just needing language, but I'm needing other modalities as well, such as design, but also time series. Because you know, in industry, we get a lot of data, but most of it is time series.
I got to sync it up, and that's hard.
Yeah, and lastly, what we need is actually no hallucination whatsoever. So we have to have mechanisms, and sometimes actually using two LLMs in order to really, keep the other one in check, to just ensure that whatever comes out of it is really working.
Okay. Now, when we were at CES, for training your AI, your co-pilot, for your digital twin, for the industrial metaverse, you have to have good data.
Yeah.
And like, for years, we've lots of data. Not sure if it's good or not. And we were chatting about that, and a challenge out there today is still a lot of companies go, well, how do I get my data in sync? And that's a huge task. And we were chatting about the fact that maybe the AI can help with that.
Yeah.
Anything happening at that front?
Yeah. Maybe let me give you an example. Here I got a connector, right? And this connector is connecting power. And so you see these pins here, right? And these pins have been created by AI. So this company is called Harting. They use NX, right? And they just took Teamcenter and all the design data that they had from the past 2 years, and then they just told the system and said, I need that many plugs or cable connectors, and then the system designed it for them in no time. That's what we're going to see. So very often, actually customers, if they have sufficient data in their repository, it's already enough, but you have to have access to it. And so we provide the models, and we bring the models to the customer where the data is.
Right.
Because very often we think about, we need to collect the data, and then you have to have all the connector. Very often in the industry, that's not the way it goes.
So the model comes to the data as opposed to the data goes to my cloud.
Yes. So, but still we have to see, I mean, of course there's cases where, for customers where we can really make it more, let's say, efficient, more reliable, they share data. But you always have to have the use case and the value proposition, because nobody's sharing data just for the sake of sharing.
Okay. Now, sustainability is a huge topic, and the ability to use digital twins and iterate before you make anything. But I suppose one feature I'm seeing out there, looking at the latest and greatest technology from NVIDIA, from Intel, it's breathtaking in terms of the compute power. But the laws of physics in terms of heat dissipation, liquid cooling is the new game in town.
True.
We will need to either refresh or rebuild a lot of the data centers to enable this. Is there a sustainability feature with a lot of new built data centers?
There's a lot. As a matter of fact, for all the data centers, it's a big issue about how to have access to green energy in the first place.
True.
Right. This is where we and many others can help really to build all the electrification that comes into it. So we think always of the tech stack of starting with the processor and then going all the way up.
Yeah.
But we miss the fact that actually beneath the processor comes the energy. right? And this is where we have to have smart grids, all the good stuff, connecting it to, of course, all the renewable energy sources, to all the storages that you have. And this is what we bring also as Siemens, with the smart grids and in particular the low voltage grids, really bringing that together. All the medium voltage, all the low voltage that goes into it to equip these. And then all the digital twins that we can build, to your point, some of them will be water cooled because of the high performance. Many others won't be though. And we have to be careful because we have very different data center providers. We think always of the very big hyperscalers.
Yeah, true, but there's a lot of others.
But don't forget, there's a myriad of small data centers still out there that we have to equip. So you have to have both high-end and all the latest tech that comes, and again, digital twins simulation really helps, but then also for those who actually really run a small data center in that sense.
Now, another hot topic, and in your upcoming AI summit, I'm doing some work around, you talk about sharing data, and companies go, oh yeah, well, you share your data, but I'm keeping mine. and you mentioned now, well, you bring the model down to the data, so you may not have to share all the data. But do you see that dynamic changing with people being more open to share some data, but keep their intellectual property, their secret sauce behind closed doors?
It depends really on the use case. If you think about design usually is your secret sauce, right?
That's true.
So that's companies are very reluctant in sharing the data. Automation depends on the use case, not as much, because of course there's some operational efficiencies and secrets in the way you operate your factories, but then for some smaller, commands on and off, on, off, on, off, it really doesn't matter as much. As long as, again, you bring back the value. If I can improve your uptime, or if I can reduce your energy consumption and so on, customers are very willing to share the data for the very intent and the purpose of sharing the data. It's not, for example, in those cases, we have many industrial customers and also building customers that share data with us, where we actually operate for them machines and buildings. The reason being is because we can do it in a much more efficient way.
Right.
For them it's fine, but we signed, of course, the documents that we will not share yet again with others.
Yeah, no, and as you say, the use case, the industry, the compliance, the regulation, but it is a feature.
Maybe let me just add on this one is Seagreen for really exchanging data. This is where then the supply chain comes through, because that's interesting, because sustainability changes the way we need to think about data. We need to think end-to-end from a supply chain perspective. And so therefore, naturally, you have to share your data with your customers and customers' customers and so on.
True.
So all the way down the chain. And there you only share the amount of data that you need to, and only with whom you need to.
Yeah, correct. You're not putting in a blockchain for everyone to read it.
No. So with our customers, for example, we share exactly the amount of data that they need to know what an enzymatic as a product carbon footprint goes into it. Right. We share it with our next customer. That customer may then aggregate it and then share it yet again to the end customer, whoever that might be.
That's their prerogative.
That's the way it goes. And that's why Seagreen is a low energy blockchain that trust-based really brings parties together where only on a need to know principle you share the data that is needed.
Well, what I find fascinating there is that, as you say, you share the data. You don't share the data on the blockchain, you share that peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer.
But put it this way, there is an immutable record on the blockchain that I have the data, it's verifiable.
It's verified.
I'm not sure what it is, but there's trust.
Yes, that's it.
Now, when we were at CTO, when we were at CES, I was asking any cool things you're watching. It was robots, and there'll be dancing robots there in a few minutes. Robots and software-defined automation. Software-defined everything.
Everything.
Anything new catch your eye here this week?
Really, what is most important for me to convey to you is, other than the industrial metaverse, really all the things coming together. We have a lot of good panels here talking about how to build it, how to make it real. What you find here this year at Hannover is really something completely new, and it's not technology, but it's actually, we are organized here by industries.
That's true.
Right?
It's not products.
It's not products. And the reason why we do it is food and beverage has very different challenges. For example, recipe management, as opposed to semiconductor, as opposed to chemicals with regards to energy, as opposed to automotive with regards to software defined. So you really need to understand the very challenges that each of the industries has, the very unique language that they have, and then take the technology that is needed, that comes out of hardware, software, electrification to some extent. So we bring that, but tailored to the needs of our customers.
And speaking of customers, it's getting busy here, but hey, good stuff.
Super.
I wish you well. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Thank you.